digital dominoes.
Hello and welcome to our special series where we share the moving stories of parents who have had to become privacy champions for their children, specifically within the school environment. These stories are about the moments when those parents realized that they needed to take action to protect their children's digital lives at school. By sharing them, we aim to motivate other parents to do the same. Hello and welcome to another episode of EdTech Privacy Parents. Today I'm talking to Tom in Belgium, who has had some very interesting experiences with the way tech has been implemented in his children's schools. So thank you so much for being willing to tell your story, Tom.
You're welcome.
Can we start by getting a little bit of background? From what age did your kids have tech in school, and what was it? How much did they use it? Just to have an idea.
Well, I think it started from when they were 8 or 9, and they started getting the Chromebooks in school. At the beginning, the Chromebook was stayed in the school, so to avoid it getting damaged when they were taking it home. So it was not really clear what they had on the Chromebook, what they could do with it, but they were definitely working on it.
This might be a silly question, but at that point, did they still have books?
Yes, they still had books.
Okay, and they do now? If I remember correctly, your kids are like 13 or 14 something now.
Yeah, something like that. They are still using books, so it's not purely the printed books or purely the tech. It's more like a combination of everything.
Okay. And how's the experience been with tech at school? Obviously, they're here because you had some negative experiences. So, I mean, how did it start? When was your first warning bells that there might be something wrong?
Okay, it's useful and it's whatever they're doing with it, but it's more the fact that apparently the school does not seem to realize the privacy impact. So let's say on the Chromebooks, the kids were showing me, okay, we can easily log in onto YouTube, for example. They just used their email address from school that they got assigned. So I was looking a little bit more on what else they could do, and I noticed it's what they actually got was a basic configuration Chromebook, no privacy settings whatsoever. Everything was still fully open. So that made me wonder a little bit, okay, something needs to be changed here to make it a little bit more privacy friendly.
A lot of people don't even care, or they don't have it on their radar. How did it happen that you were thinking about this kind of thing?
Yeah, I always have been a little bit interested in privacy and how our privacy is on a slippery slope. Slowly, we are accepting more and more things. And I think in my case, I really said, okay, this is getting too much. When I came back one day, years back, from a grocery store or a bakery, and when I came home, my phone actually asked me, how was your visit to the bakery? And I was like, okay, why the hell do you need to know what my experience was at the bakery? That was the tipping point.
Yeah, that's an interesting point what you made right now. And it's something that when we were preparing for this, that really hit me about what you were saying about your kids' experience. What you said, it's slowly, we are losing a grasp of our privacy. And especially if you start with young kids and even in school, where basically traditionally this is where you learn a lot of how you're supposed to act in society and what you can expect, what's right, what's wrong. If the privacy in terms of tech isn't strictly respected there, when are they going to learn it, right? If they start with 8 or 9 and they have a device that isn't really secured. So do you want to tell us about the security, like the passwords and all of the...
Yeah, I asked in the elementary school. One of my kids came home and they said, we had some issue with the Chromebooks because somebody was posting some things on another one's profile. I said, okay, but how is it possible? But we are all using the same password. I said, okay, so I talked to the teacher and I explained, okay, maybe this is not the best idea. And then she said, yeah, but it's difficult because maybe they forget the password. And I said, okay, but there are other solutions. So she changed the passwords. And then I asked my kid, I said, okay, it's okay now. She said, not really, because we all have different passwords, but there is a nice logic in it because if you know one password, you can automatically deduct the other ones because it's just one number difference. So I said, okay, this is still not okay. So I talked again to the teacher, and then on the end she came with the solution. Okay, we'll give everybody a completely individual password, but I will write it down on a small paper. I will put it in a secure place, so if they forget it, I can still easily get them back online. So still not the ideal situation, but okay, I can live with that one. So that's already something. But then I talked with the middle school on the same thing, and I said, okay, but you're also not using multi-factor authentication. You're just using a basic password. And they were like, yeah, it's too complicated for kids of 11, 12 years to work with the multi-factor authentication. So I think, and I also explained this to the school, I think they are living in a misjudged reality where they are thinking that kids are not going to understand multi-factor authentication. I think it's the moment that you have to teach them how to use it correctly, and then they will continue to use it in their further life. Otherwise, they are never going to learn it. If they are not going to learn it when they are now at this age, yeah, it's a lost opportunity. Yeah.
Yes, I fully agree with you. And that's really, really interesting. This was such a big light bulb moment for me when you explained it. Because on the one hand, it's so simple. But then on the other hand, obviously, it's not so simple, right? Because I've also heard, kids, they have trouble understanding. There was one parent who said they had the passwords just printed and put on the Chromebook. It was also a Chromebook. So it was just a sticker. And when, as you said, when are they going to learn it? When you say, okay, now you have to care about your privacy. And then there's no wonder that we have trouble getting youth to really respect their privacy and basic data security if when we first start out, let's say, okay, you're too young to understand this. So the question is if they're too young to understand the safety, the basic safety of a device, should they even have the device?
And it's also part of the responsibility of the school to take care of these things and explain the differences. But I understand it's not easy for a school to make a time for this. They say, okay, our main role is education. It's not being busy with this one. But I don't really agree with their opinion, and that it's their responsibility to teach the children basic security, safety settings of these devices.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think, honestly, I think that should be a given. But I do understand that schools are a little bit overwhelmed with it because they're also not prepared. They're like, take these devices. The tech companies negotiate often directly with the school, and they often don't have the experts there. And another thing that you told me before that I found extremely interesting was actually in Belgium, there's even a policy defining how schools should treat Chromebooks.
It's quite well made. It's giving quite a lot of interesting insights on what's gathered and what you should not do and what you should do, and how you can make the Chromebooks a little bit more privacy minded. As an example, they say instead of giving the login credentials for the student, don't give name, first name, and then the school. Just put something else. It's not don't put a name, put something else. When the schools are saying, but we don't want to reduce a student to a number. No, it's not meaning you need to put a number. You can put whatever you want as long as it's not really the name that's directly linkable to a certain student.
Extremely interesting, and I'll put it into the link in the show notes because it's such a valuable tool, actually. And it's a little bit sad, actually, the experience that you had, even having such a well written, well researched tool about how to ensure privacy and safety of kids. And the schools are having trouble, I don't want to say taking it seriously or using it for whatever reason. It seems a really difficult battle, right? I mean, right at the very beginning of it, it says basically, if you don't have it, don't implement it, try to avoid it. And they realize because of the privacy issues, they're just recommending not to use Chromebooks at all in schools.
Yeah, that's basically what it says. It says if you're using Chromebooks, think of an exit strategy. If you don't use them, don't start with it. And they say if you are using them, and you are working on the exit strategy, look at the back of the document, and there are all the additional steps that you can take to make it more privacy friendly. It's a quite well made document.
It is, and I think it's really great that this exists. I mean, obviously, the longer that they're able to get the data, the more money they can make from it, right? Because kids' data is worth a lot because you're getting them really, really early. Tell us more about the reaction of like other parents and the school, even your kids. What kind of reactions and understanding or non-understanding do you get when you try to push these issues?
It's funny because with the kids, it's depending. One of them is like fully understanding it, and she says, "Okay, I have switched off all locations on my smartphone are off. I switch off everything what I can. I'm not sharing anything online." It's and then other ones are, "Oh, you know, it's fun to share things." And I try to explain them, and they are not. Yeah, no, you cannot get through to them. Okay, the school now started implementing some of the recommendations, and one of them is they shut down all these externals like YouTube. And then we were talking about it with my children, and they say, "Yeah, the teacher wants to show us a small movie." And they said, "No, YouTube has to be blocked because there was one parent complaining in the entire school, and now we had to shut down YouTube." And of course, I have some children saying, "Yeah, please don't tell to anybody that you did this because we will have a very hard time explaining this to more than 1,000 students why our father asked the school to shut down YouTube." So
It must be difficult actually to be that one parent. I don't have to fight these battles personally yet, but it must be really tough, honestly, because you have to go against the school, you have to go against the teachers, the other parents, even your kids sometimes.
but I think it's kind of fun.
It's kind of That's good.
Because okay, I had to, because the school was not really taking me serious, so I filed a complaint with the Belgian Data Protection Authority. So they are now a little bit realizing, okay, I get that the complaint is still ongoing, so it's a very slow process, but the school is starting to understand, okay, maybe this is not the best idea. And then I had one of my children coming home and they said, they are now going to install monitoring software on our laptops because too many children are busy watching football games in schools. They are going to work on that one with monitoring software so they can watch from the front of the classroom what we are doing on the laptops. So I said, yeah, we're not going to do this. So contacted the school. I asked for a meeting. I explained my point, and I got a lot of very strange ideas out of them why they should be doing this. And but I think in the end they kind of understood it and they said, okay, we will not do this because it's not going to work out.
Yeah, monitoring software. I think this is another thing I've heard quite a bit. It's a big discussion, right? On the one hand, you have to keep the kids safe, but on the other hand, if you normalize monitoring like that, then as you say, it's a slippery slope. And you were explaining that their idea was that they would only do the monitoring for laptops that were connected on the school Wi-Fi.
Yeah, this was one of the contingency measures to please me because I told them, okay, you can take over the screen of the computer, you can take over the camera. So in theory, when they are with all this homeschool education, you can see what's happening in their house, what's happening in their room. Maybe potentially this has some sensitive information. And this is you know you should not be taking this for granted. What you see in the camera, that it's to be shared with everybody. People are not realizing this, and they say, "Yeah, but we will put it then that it's only working on the Wi-Fi network of the school." I said, "Okay, but you told me 5 minutes ago that your Wi-Fi network is not of the greatest quality, and that you are allowing students to connect with their hotspot on their phones." So I say, at the moment they know this, yeah, everybody will be on this hotspot and your Wi-Fi will be perfect because there is nobody there anymore. Yeah, yeah, okay, man. And it's they were trying to find excuses and how we will only use it during school hours and we will trust our teachers. And it's like, no, it should not be like this. It should not be. If you want to do this, walk around in the classroom. Don't put monitoring software. Just walk around when they are working, and you can immediately see what they are doing. And actually, one of the teachers that was there, she had a very good point. She said, "Okay, if I think that they are doing something else on their laptop, what they should not be doing, I'm just telling them, okay, everybody raise your hands." And then she starts walking around and then she can see immediately who's doing what and if they are busy with something for school or not.
That's a really good point. I really love that teacher's solution. When you describe it, though, it's something that I think every time one of these parents tells me a story is that it's a mess in the sense that technology is being implemented in school for the sake of digital literacy and getting them prepared for the real world with digital. But in many cases, it's been done in a way that is actually more harmful. It seems more harmful than beneficial. because you're normalizing behavior that's not secure, and you're also welcoming them to the whole world of the internet in a situation where one person can't manage it all. The teacher can't realistically manage all those kids where, if it's a parent and the parents can take care of their few kids at home. So it's a really risky situation.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Is there any, like, techniques that you've realized work to help, move forward and in terms of understanding other than just sitting there and explaining? In this sense, you have to be quite well informed. You have to be able to think on your feet, which what you're describing, I'm not sure that everyone would feel comfortable doing that.
No, I think the most important is to teach them, to make them aware of the risks and give them examples. If I give them examples of what can happen if you're not taking care of your digital footprint, what are the possible consequences, and give them real life examples. And like I told my kids, I say, okay, yeah, but if I'm posting this on internet, it's no problem. I say, okay, it's no problem. Then just give me your phone, unlock your phone, and let me look around in your phone for half an hour. No, 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 you cannot. No, no, this is no, because I've sent messages to other kids, and I say, yeah, but you see, this maybe you have nothing to hide, but there are a lot of things you do not want to share with other people, and you have to think about this. And for the tech world, of course, this is a huge investment. If they can have the kids already from their young age well tracked and looking what they are doing, it's very easy to afterwards build a nice profile about the person and then what they can target them with afterwards.
I think so too. I was just thinking about that yesterday, honestly. Obviously, everyone's talking about TikTok right now because TikTok was closed. We were recording this a few days after it was closed for like 12 hours in the US. And I was thinking the power of influencing from a young age, if you have their data and you're collecting it, even from school devices. Basically everywhere they go. And then they get on social media, then it's very easy to actually influence their whole life view and their opinion. And I love your example about, take the phone, give me your phone. I've heard that from other privacy experts that that's the one thing that youth really understand. But about privacy, it's the same thing as like unlocking your phone and giving it to your parents. Yeah, it's a really risky situation. I really hope that we wake up slowly as a society and start to really work together and make the tech in schools work properly, because that's the basis that they're getting for what responsible use is.
That's it. The only thing is to educate them and to show them how it should be done and start with the basics. And don't share anything what you don't want to see on the front of the newspaper. Don't just log in with a simple password. Don't use the same passwords everywhere because this is still a thing. People are still using the same passwords everywhere. Use a password manager, multi-factor authentications, all the basics, which are for some people but this is very complicated. Yeah, I know, but think about it for your own good.
It is, thank you, and I think that's the perfect way to close for anyone who has tech in their schools or who are parents. Please try to get the schools to do it in a way that respects the basic, as you just described, the basics of data security. We have to teach them that from the very beginning. We have to respect that even if it's inconvenient. It's so important.
Like another example I'm giving to people is something, it's not related to schools, but it's like it's the cameras that are popping up everywhere. I don't know, but Belgium has one of the most dense ANPR camera systems in the world, so they are everywhere. And they were sold in the beginning under the but we're going to catch terrorists with them and heavy criminals and things like this. And then it started, yeah, but we will also use them for this and we will use them for that. And maybe if you don't pay your insurance, we will catch you. And on the end, it's like, yeah, you're using them for everything, but nobody can really say what they are using them for. And then we got on the elections a few months back. You could do like a voting test. We had a bunch of questions, and then you had to answer them, and then the algorithm was telling you, okay, from the answers you gave, this party seems to be matching with your position. It's just a
Okay.
questionnaire. It's not like
Okay.
not a fixed thing. It's a question, and they clearly
Uh,
said, okay, this is an indication. One of the questions was for your own safety. We want to put more cameras in your street. Do you agree? Yes or no? And then most people said, yes, of course I agree. And I told people, I say, okay, but I can change the question in such a way that you will answer no. If I'm telling you, okay, we want to put more cameras in your street to improve your safety, but maybe in 2 years we will also use the cameras to give you a fine if you are putting your garbage outside a few hours before the the set moments, because you cannot put your garbage outside in the evening. It has to be on in the morning. Things like this. So I said, okay, if you put it outside too early, we will fine you. Yeah, no, of course we don't want that. But this is what's happening. People, governments, and communities, they will always find an excuse to use the cameras for more and more and more and more. And that's the slippery slope, which is it's creeping in, and it's before you know it, it's not going away. I'm telling them, okay, you go to a mall and you're looking for a new, let's say, a new laundry machine, and the salesman is coming to you and say, okay, this is my laundry machine, these are the options. On the end of the day, say, okay, thank you very much. And I will think about it, and you go home. Now, in the evening, the salesperson is on your doorstep, ringing your, oh yeah, did you think about the laundry machine? Okay, first time you say, maybe, okay, next morning, 7 in the morning, he's there again. For 3 weeks, he's there 3 times a day. People are not going to accept this, but people are accepting if you online, you're looking for a laundry machine, and automatically for the next weeks, you are getting nothing but commercials about laundry machines. People are just accepting this. It's like, yeah, no, it's just clicking it away. Yeah, no, it should not be there. It should not be. Let's try to use a more privacy-friendly browser that's doing less tracking. So it's blocking all these creepy things and helping to improve your privacy that way.
Yeah, that's a really perfect example about the trash in the street. It's actually true. That's not some kind of dystopian. That's something that's already happening. I read about a venue, I think in New York, that they have facial recognition cameras and they actually use it to people who are banned, and they're banned because of where they work. Like there was a story of a woman whose boyfriend bought tickets for a concert, and they couldn't get in because she was recognized as working for some law firm that was suing the venue. So this is
It's incredible, huh?
insanity. Yeah, it's insanity. These things actually happen. And just going back to the basics of school, if we start with complete lacks security, complete lacks privacy, because as you say, they're not old enough to understand it. First of all, they are. They understand a lot more than we think. And second, that's just a small trigger that in the end will lead them to getting fines for the trash and for not being let into venues.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Yeah, thank you. And actually, it's really inspiring every time I see parents who are just putting their neck out like that. And I hope that if I get in this situation, I also have the courage to do it as well. But yeah, we need to do it for our kids, right?
No, that's it. That's it.
Okay, thank you so much.
No, thank you very much.
We encourage all parents and loved ones to ensure that the digital footprints their children create at school are treated with the respect and care they deserve. If your school or area hasn't yet leaned heavily into technology at school, we hope these stories will help you ask the right questions when they do. If you have a story to share, would like more info on these issues, or would like to contribute in any way, please contact us. Together, we can make a difference in safeguarding our children's digital futures.
Digital dominoes.